Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley.
Give me your money. Help me, please, help me. Give me your money now.
Threatened, punched and robbed. The Oxford taxi driver targeted by thieves. The dangers faced by nighttime workers.
They took the money, £170, and the three people continue to hit me.
The closure of a key road between West Berkshire and Oxfordshire sparks a major row. Businesses in Goring and Streatley fear it will cost them thousands.
Also on the programme, stopping the bed bugs biting. The company seeing a rise in call-outs as cases go up by 65%. And how this 14-year-old Hampshire YouTuber drew more than 1 million followers. Good evening. A taxi driver who was attacked and robbed in his vehicle by a group of passengers in Oxford says the ordeal has left him and his family badly shaken. The driver, who wants to remain anonymous, has told ITV Meridian 3 people threatened him and hit him repeatedly. Well, the firm he works for say they're working to reassure drivers. Wesley Smith has our story.
Where's your money? Give me your money. Help me, please, help me. Give me your money now.
It's a video that sent shockwaves through Oxfordshire's taxi driver community. This is what happened to one man just doing his job, trying to get passengers safely from A to B. He was punched and racially abused and had £170 stolen. The driver, who wants to remain anonymous, says it's left him badly shaken and with a painful head injury which is keeping him away from work.
I had my face, I didn't eat because my chin is the pain here, right hand side. And the 3 people continue to hit me. When he hit me, I called to police, 999 dial, because he too much hit me, and then I called to my pad, dial to 999.
The incident happened here on Harebill Road in Blackbird Leys at 2:15 in the morning. It's believed the attackers sped off down the road, leaving the driver clearly very shocked. But we do believe police have some positive leads. The taxi company the driver works for says they're doing all they can to support him, and they're trying to reassure concerned drivers.
It was a big shock when we first heard about the incident. Thankfully, the driver is in a stable condition. Obviously, he's waiting the results of an MRI scan, so we're hoping that will come back clear, but he's in great shock at the moment. So too are we. I've had a lot of drivers who've come to me and said we're worried as well. So obviously we want to make sure we're working closely with the relevant authorities to try and find these people and bring them to justice to show that it's a safe taxi environment in Oxford.
Javed Akhtar, who's from Aylesbury, has been a taxi driver for 36 years and says the profession can be rewarding, but you can't always be sure who's going to get into your cab.
Respect your driver, of course, that goes without saying. You might be a little bit drunk or something. You might not know how much you're paying or not paying. But at the end of the day, you've got to take in consideration this driver is working for a living.
The driver who was attacked says he's speaking out today to warn other drivers to stay vigilant.
Be careful, taxi driver, all my brother. These people, very bad people.
Do you think you will eventually go back to work, or has it put you off?
No nighttime work next time. Because my little children too much frightened.
As this driver recovers, all are hoping that this is a one-off and that the attackers will soon be brought to justice. Wesley Smith, ITV News, Oxford.
Police have launched an investigation following reports a man made inappropriate comments to 2 children in Sandhurst. Officers want to speak to this person captured on CCTV after an offender made comments about a girl in Snaprace Park on the 21st of September. The next day, a teenage boy was approached in an underpass. Police are appealing for anyone who saw what happened to get in touch. A major policing operation across the south has led to 68 arrests in connection with serious crime. Surrey, Thames Valley and the British Transport Police work together to apprehend criminals suspected of operating county lines networks and being involved in organised crime. The operation also saw 26 weapons seized, £9,000 in cash and 51 vehicles taken off the road. A man with cancer says he's trapped in a mouldy flat as his social landlord won't move him permanently. He's been told by doctors work to remove the mould could pose a risk to his health. Jerry Bromley of Toll Gardens moved from Maidenhead to Bracknell in January to be closer to the Royal Berkshire Hospital where he receives chemotherapy. But days after moving in, he said he found that mould began to appear on walls all through the flat, including in cupboards and on furniture. A spokesperson for Silver Homes said they do not offer permanent house moves based on medical grounds, but they say we have worked closely with the council to try and find an alternative solution.
Next tonight, the closure of a key road between West Berkshire and Oxfordshire is at the centre of a major row. The Thames Bridge, which links Goring and Streatley, will close on Friday for 10 days, with an 11-mile diversion in both directions.
Well, local people and businesses who will be impacted say no one told them about the work in advance and fear it will cost them thousands of pounds. But Southern Gas say the work is vital to keeping the network safe. With more, here's Mike Pearce.
The crossing between Berkshire and Oxfordshire is a key route for commuters. Its closure means a trip of just a few hundred yards and a few minutes will see a detour of around 11 miles, with up to an hour added to the daily journey. What's angered local businesses is no one knew about the closure until last week.
There hasn't been anything from the gas network at all to say what's going to be happening.
What's your reaction to that?
I just think it's poor. I think it's going to have a critical impact on our businesses, which struggle as it is, as times are as hard as they are, and I just think they're doing absolutely nothing to help us.
What do you think it means for drivers as well? Because they're talking, I think, of a 11-mile detour?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, really. Especially, I know some people who work in the village who come that way and have got to drive that extra amount round, and it's been really sort of no notice whatsoever that it's going to happen. Well, I only stumbled across it on Facebook, and that's how I know about it.
Well, Southern Gas Network say the work is vital because there have been a number of gas leaks on the bridge that need urgent repair. This is the Streatley side of the bridge, and with just 2 days to go before the closure, there are still no warning signs for drivers. The Goring to Streatley Bridge will close from Friday night for 10 days and is used by thousands of drivers a day. Locals accept the work is needed, but say it's a lack of communication that's cause for concern.
It's going to be really hard. We've got a massive detour. A lot of people come, they buy quite a lot of meat, and they can't walk across the bridge even though it's open for pedestrians, but they can't actually carry that much stuff. So see what happens, I don't know. It's going to be difficult for 10 days. It is going to affect trade.
It's going to be a very quiet week next week, so it's a shame. It's our busiest time of the year leading up to Christmas, but we also appreciate that there is a problem and it needs to be solved. The thing that we're so upset about is that no one's actually taken the time to inform us or any of the local businesses here.
Southern Gas say next week is half term, which is the best time to do the work because traffic levels are reduced and it will have less effect on the school run. They say it will lead to less work in the future and they will install warning signs. Businesses here say they're still recovering from COVID and the cost of living crisis, and any more disruption is clearly unwelcome. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Goring.
A unique high-value statue has been stolen from an auction house in Alton. The statue by Maruki is a Japanese bronze incense burner. It was taken from Hannam's Auctioneers on Selborne Road on Monday night. Hampshire Police said 2 people made off in a blue car.
A series of events are to be held for people to have their say on plans for a new reservoir near Abingdon. The reservoir will be the size of 2,500 football pitches. It will be built over 6 square miles of land between Steventon, East Hannay and Drayton. Members of the public can have their say in 2 sessions next month.
Now you're watching ITV News Meridian in the Thames Valley. Still to come on the programme.
Would you know how to give your dog CPR? The rise in owners wanting to know how they could save their pet in a life-saving emergency.
And we've got Storm Babette in charge out there at the moment. Even once that clears, we're not quite out of the woods. I'll be back later with all the details.
More from us, of course, online. All the details on the screen, itv.com/Meridian. You can call us 0808 1010 095 and don't forget to find us and follow us on social media.
Now, a woman from Crawley says she had to leave a B&B recently because of the bed bugs. The hospitality industry is being warned to take precautions with fears the infestation currently gripping Paris may spread to the UK within the coming weeks as fans return from the Rugby World Cup.
Well, even the general public are now being given advice on how to spot the signs when staying in hotels and B&Bs. But how worried should we be? With more, Nick Smith.
These creepy crawlies have certainly been grabbing headlines in the last few weeks, as one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations battles a citywide infestation. Even here across the channel, reports of bedbugs in properties has jumped by 2/3 in the last year, according to the British Pest Control Association. Charlotte Freeman from Crawley recently stayed in a B&B with her partner, but discovered bedbugs crawling all over the sheets, causing them to leave immediately in the middle of the night.
We were lying in bed and I just noticed what I thought was a flea on the bed. Had a look and noticed there was a couple more appearing on the bed sheet. And my partner was like, we need to get out. So we just packed all our bags and we headed off. It was about 1 a.m. and we just drove home. And very tired, a little bit flustered, also a little bit paranoid because we didn't want to bring anything back. The minute we got home, we jumped straight in the shower, just washed everything again. This is like 2 a.m, but just to be safe. It's definitely made us much more observant before we relax into holiday mode.
While bedbug bites do cause some skin irritation, they don't actually spread any serious diseases. What they do create, though, is a sense of anxiety in a property dealing with an infestation. It often involves discarding the affected furniture, which can be pretty costly, and calling in the professional exterminators.
Those like Hugh Barry from Christchurch in Dorset, who's seen a rise in call-outs over the past year as people get better at spotting them.
We've seen a big increase in call-outs after the pandemic. Everyone has started to go on holiday. And obviously the problem with France is we're going to get a few from there. You know, you just have to look at the rugby, see how many people are over there to bring it back.
There are also high-tech detection devices being deployed in the fight against bedbugs. Homes and businesses can install traps like these, using automated systems to identify and alert users if they're present.
Vigilance is key. We have AI algorithms that can identify any insect, and we make a monitor that can go under a bed, in a train carriage, in a hospital, wherever it's needed. It attracts the bed bugs inside it, takes a picture, identifies it, and then sends an email alert.
A statement from UK Hospitality insists the public can feel safe and confident when booking accommodation, as they have not yet seen an indication of problems on the scale observed in Paris. But with travel from France still uninhibited, it may only be a matter of time before these bugs find more footholds on this side of the channel. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Now, dozens of young adults born via embryo, egg or sperm donation will be able to find out their biological origins in the coming weeks and months.
Changes to the law back in 2005 meant that donors could no longer be anonymous, and the first babies born since the law changed are now turning 18. But donors will have no financial responsibility towards the young people involved.
Charities in the sector, though, say it's vital that support is offered to the young people and their families who are thinking of making contact with donors. Kevin Ashford reports.
Jamie Ruddock, who's a student in Brighton, has no idea who his biological father is. The sperm involved in his conception was donated anonymously. Growing up, Jamie's always known this, but has no great desire to find out who the donor was.
I don't really have the the push to find him, because my parents were great parents. My dad, I'm not missing any parental figure, and I don't think the donor should be a parental figure in my life. They're just a man who helped conceive me, and he has no responsibility over me. He'll just be quite an interesting person to me.
While Jamie may have no interest, there's a new generation of young people conceived using donors who will be able to discover their biological origins more easily. A law change in 2005 meant that donors involved in subsequent conceptions were no longer anonymous. In that year, there were 29 donor conception births, babies who are now turning 18 and eligible to find out their donors' identities. And that number will rise year on year. For example, by 2019, the annual number of donor conception births was more than 4,000. This solicitor from Hove says even if contact is made, there are no legal liabilities involved.
Donors do not have any legal obligations to children born as a result of their donation, and there is no legal relationship between them. They will not be the child's legal parent, and they will not have parental responsibility for the child, and there is no financial obligation. Should they be contacted by a child born as a result of their donation in the future, it is entirely their decision whether or not they want to have a relationship with them.
The director of a charity that helps families before and after donor conceptions says support is vital, as, for example, a donor may not be interested in having any relationship with the young person involved.
I think we just need to manage the expectations before going forward, that it's an unknown person that you're connecting with, and trying to make sure that there's support available for those meetups or those connections, and then afterwards, if expectations are not met, then making sure that people have a place to go to talk about that.
The Human Fertilisation and Embryology Authority says the impact of the anonymity legislation doesn't seem to have put off potential donors.
When the law changed, we did see a little bit of a dip in the number of people coming forward to donation, but that changed and we do have a steady stream of donors now because it's more transparent now, it's more acceptable, and I think donors understand the importance of somebody knowing where they've come from as well.
The HFEA is urging donors to ensure their contact details are up to date so that the young people affected can get the information they're entitled to. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
And the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30 with more details. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the programme, international outrage after last night's devastating explosion at a hospital in Gaza. Hundreds are dead, many more injured. Both sides are still denying responsibility. The US President Joe Biden has flown in to meet the Israeli Prime Minister, saying he is deeply saddened. We'll look at whether it's really possible to know for sure who was behind the strike. Also ahead, inflation holds steady here, but what does it mean for interest rates and benefits? And the real Wagatha story, Colleen Rooney speaks about the court case that gripped a nation. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
But before that, how confident would you be if you had to perform CPR on your pet?
Well, despite us being a dog-loving nation with around 12 million across the country, most owners wouldn't have a clue how to do first aid on their pets. So, should we be learning? Here's Rashim Rashid.
We love them like they're our own, but would we know what to do if our pets had a medical emergency? These dog walkers in Brighton said they'd struggle.
We keep them in the shade as much as possible. We've always got water with us, but other than that, no, if he collapsed, I wouldn't have a clue. It's not advertised, is it? Nobody knows about that sort of thing. They don't even tell you at the vets.
I've never really thought of him going into sort of heart failure or anything like that, but definitely be good to know what to do if he suddenly stopped breathing and things like that.
My last dog, I had a Staffy, and she had a fit and basically didn't know what to do. I just panicked. My partner, he sorted her out and then it was straight to the vets, but I wouldn't have a clue what to do. I think it's a very good idea. I'd love to join a group to know what to do if anything were to happen with Belinda. Yeah.
Despite low numbers nationally, demand for pet first aid classes has been rising.
And we want to use our whole body weight, so we're doing compressions. So we lean over the back of the dog, and like so, and then we want to be compressing 2/3 of the chest and doing 120 per minute. There's so many new pet owners after the pandemic, there's definitely much higher demand. As a human, you wouldn't do daycare and childcare and things like that without having kind of basic CPR knowledge for humans. So why should you be trusting people that are looking after your dogs that don't have any CPR training?
And there's a huge gap in pet first aid training, with 90% of owners having had none at all, 3/4 admitting they wouldn't know how to perform CPR on their animal, and more than half saying they wouldn't know what to do if their pet broke a bone.
Unfortunately, pets will have accidents and some pets may die. If we can empower more people with these skills, then we will make it more likely that pets will survive. If you suspect your dog is choking, what we would do is we would hold behind her back legs and we put her in some sort of a wheelbarrow type position to see if gravity will help.
Emma's online lessons have been racking up millions of views, but she says many owners are desperately watching them because they've been caught out in a crisis and warns in an emergency there won't always be a good Samaritan on hand to help.
I was walking my own dogs and I could see a woman in some distress, and I could see that there was trouble, so I came over to see if I could help her, and the dog had a stick stuck in its mouth and she just didn't know what to do. The dog was, of course, panicking and couldn't get the stick out. So I just tried to calm the situation first, get the dog close to me on the lead, and then just very gently ease the mouth open and take the stick out.
As Freya's first aid skills saved one lucky pet, it's hoped lessons like these will save more of our loved ones' lives.
And then we do a nice...
Raheem Rashid, ITV News.
Now, October is Black History Month, and this year is all about honouring the achievements of black women. And at just 14, Tamia Thomas from Southampton is already making waves.
Yes, thanks to a series of animations created in her bedroom, Tamia now has more than 1 million followers and has even launched her own merchandise based on characters she's created. For a while, her mum didn't even know what was happening. Derek Johnson has been speaking to her.
Adventures in animation. These short episodes get millions of views online. Yet the characters and scenes are assembled only after their creator has done her homework. Tamia Thomas, who's 14, masterminds this from her home in Southampton.
I was looking at all these content creators and I was liking what they were doing, so I wanted to do it as well. And then I started doing it on my tablet and my phone, and I was into it and I kept doing it every single day, and then eventually I blew up on YouTube. My content is based on a game and those games are really popular, so I just do animations on the characters from those games.
Tamia has her own YouTube page, Tamia Tomato, named after her character. Currently it has 1.3 million subscribers. All this just in the past year. Mother Evelyn says it came as a complete surprise.
Before, she used to be on her tablet devices all the time, and I used to always tell her off, and you're on that for too long, what are you doing? I didn't realise that she was kind of like analysing all the content online and just getting ideas and to see what she's created out of it.
It takes me about a week approximately, and then to make the stuff it takes about 6 hours, maybe days, because I have to put a lot of effort into it because I want my videos to be perfect.
Tamia would love to carry on creating, perhaps one day working for a major animation studio.
She's got those aspirations, so that's really, really great. I can see her going somewhere. I feel it has suddenly come out of nowhere. It's been a complete shock since last year. We were actually realised how serious this is and how many subscribers she was getting, how amazing comments from people, and just how people were so interested in what she was doing. So amazing, completely blown away of what she's accomplished. I'm so proud of her.
I couldn't even believe it. I really wanted 10k, and it eventually grew into 100k, 500k, and then 1 million. I just can't process it. I kind of just wanted to do it for fun, and I really enjoyed doing it, but also I just wanted to see people smile as well.
There's even merchandise for die-hard fans, and these short videos will no doubt run for a long time. Derek Johnson, ITV News, Southampton.
Wow, what a talent. I hope my teenagers are watching and have been inspired to do that on their tablets instead, to show you what you can achieve.
Sounds like you're telling them off to me.
They're probably not watching. Weather time now. Pip, you've joined us. It's turned rather wintry.
Yeah, well, it's very autumnal for sure. Some really wet weather out there at the moment. Storm Babette making its presence felt today. In fact, we can see on the earlier satellite and radar sequence the rain sweeping up from the south. Here comes Babette. We've had some strong winds with that as well. Some tricky driving conditions out there at the moment. And even once Babette moves out the way, we're not out of the woods. Running the sequence through into Friday, you can see the next big area of low pressure comes up. That's going to bring another spell of fairly intense, persistent rain. And for that, the Met Office has a yellow warning coming into force. So this is for Friday. Widespread, sort of 1 to 2 inches, some places up to 3 inches. That's on top of all the rain we've had today. So there could be some localised disruption to transport networks, perhaps some localised flooding, and of course, again, some tricky driving conditions on the roads.
And last year we had to wait a long time for storms, didn't we? So we're kind of up.
We did, yes.
Not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. So storm season runs from the 1st of September to the end of August. And we did have to wait until August to get both Anthony and Betty. Of course, this year we're already on B. This is the list for this year. Any there that you fancy the look of or not so much?
She doesn't sound nice.
I think Lillian sounds quite calm.
Yeah, I like the sound of Minnie. How bad can Minnie be? Minnie Mouse? Anyway, hopefully no more storms for the time being. Let's get the forecast.
Whatever the weather, it always feels like home. Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
So lots of rain on the scene at the moment and more to come over the next couple of days. Some wet and windy weather very much in the offing, remaining very unsettled. Out there at the moment, lots of rain on the scene, some difficult driving conditions on the roads. Windy with it too, gusts in the region of 50 miles per hour along the south coast. As the night wears on, the winds start to ease down, the worst of the rain clears away and then showers start to follow in behind. But of course, with those southerly winds, a very mild night for the time of year. Tomorrow, a different day altogether, more in the way of bright or sunny spells, but also a fair few showers, more especially into the afternoon. Some of these could be heavy, perhaps thundery, perhaps even a little hail thrown in for good measure. Blustery winds still, not quite as windy as today, but temperatures a little up on where we'd expect them to be at this time of year. And then all eyes turn to Friday as we see another area of low pressure drifting up from the south. As a result, the Met Office have a yellow warning coming into force for that. The risk of disruption to transport, perhaps some localised flooding, some fairly significant accumulations expected. Thankfully, things look a little bit quieter as we head through the weekend.
Valent Heat Pumps and Boilers sponsor ITV Meridian Weather.
And that is all from us. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Stacey's back with a late update just after 10:30. But until then from us, thank you very much for watching. Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.